according to the Section 1 of the Revised Rules and Regulations of the Board and Pardons and Parole under the provisions of Act No. 4103 as amended, otherwise known as the Indeterminate Sentence Law, which was approved on December 5, 1933. It is the function of the Board and Pardons and Parole to afflict and redeem valuable human material to economic usefulness and to prevent unnecessary and excessive deprivation of personal liberty by way of parole or through excessive clemency.
Towards this end, the Board undertakes the following. A. Looks into the physical, mental, and moral records of prisoners who are eligible for parole or any form of executive clemency and determines the proper time of release of such prisoners on parole. B. Assist in full rehabilitation of individuals on parole or those under conditional pardon with parole conditions by way of supervision, and C. Recommends to the President of the Philippines the grant of any form of executive clemency to prisoners other than those entitled to parole, Chan Robel. Hence, before the President would exercise his pardoning power, the recommendation of D&D Secretary should be made first.
Number 2. Can the President grant conditional pardon to Pedro Ramirez even in the absence of favorable recommendation from the D&A Secretary? As to Section 9 of the Revised Rules and Regulation of the Board of Pardons and Parole, referral of petition for executive clemency, parole to other government agencies, a petition for executive clemency shall be referred by the Board of the Secretary of National Defense for comment and recommendation if the crime committed by the petitioner is against national security or public order or law of nations. Therefore, with the absence of favorable recommendation from the D&A Secretary, the President could not grant any pardon to Pedro Ramirez.
Another information from the answer of number 2, since our answer is no. In case of violation of election laws, rules, and regulations, a petitioner for executive clemency or parole shall be referred to the Commission on Elections for favorable recommendation, provided, however, that regardless of the crime committed, a petition for executive clemency or parole may be referred for a pre-parole or executive clemency investigation to a probation and parole officer who shall submit a report on the behavior, character, antecedents, mental, and physical condition of the petitioner within 30 days from receipt of referral, to include the results of the National Bureau of Investigation Records Book.
Number 3. What if Pedro Ramirez is convicted not of a crime of espionage, but a crime of election sabotage penalized under the Omnibus Election Code of the Philippines and the Commission of Election, likewise not favorably recommends the granting of conditional pardon? Will your answer to be issue number 2 be different? Justify your answer. The Philippine President has the power to grant a pardon, as stated in Section 19, Article 7 of the 1987 Constitution. Though this power does not cover those who violate election laws, in which any petition for pardon has to have the approval of the Commission on Elections. That being said, the Omnibus Election Code of the Philippines and the Commission of Election, likewise, not favorably recommends the granting of conditional pardon to this kind of case. So this is a different story in contrast to the preceding query. That's all, and thank you.
Good day, sir. The question that assigned to me is, what if Pedro Ramirez is convicted not of a crime of espionage but a crime of election sabotage, penalized under the Omnibus Election Code of Philippines and the Commission of Election, likewise, not probably recommended the granting of conditional pardon. We answered the issue number 2 will be different. Justify your answer. According to the Section 19, Article 7 of the 1987 Constitution, the Philippine President has the authority to issue a pardon. This power does not extend to the people who have broken election laws, since any plea for pardon must be approved by the Commission on Election. However, the Philippines Omnibus Election Code of the Commission of Elections both strongly oppose the granting of conditional pardons in this type of case, so this is a different story than the previous query. Thank you, sir.
What if Pedro Ramirez is convicted not of a crime of espionage but a crime of election sabotage, penalized under the Omnibus Election Code of the Philippines and the Commission of Election likewise, that favorably recommends the granting of conditional pardon? Will your answer to issue number 2 be different? Justify your answer. My answer is, according to Section 9 of the Revised Rules and Regulation of the Board of Pardon and Parole, in the event of violation of election rules and regulation, a petition for executive clemency, parole, shall be referred to the Election Commission for favorable recommendation. However, regardless of the crime committed, if the Commission on Election likewise not favorably recommends the granting of conditional pardon, the President could still not grant any pardon to Pedro Ramirez.